Today what I want to do is I want to show you how we're going to be making our slab platters. Our platters are going to be made of stoneware clay. They are going to be nice thin platters that we're going to be using a paper plate mold for. We are going to be incising them and leaving grooved lines, so when we go to glaze it, we'll have separate areas so we can glaze our different areas with different glazes. We're going to start off by getting some stoneware clay. Now you can wedge your stoneware clay. If you have scrap especially, you want to make sure you're wedging it up. It should be a little bit bigger than a large grapefruit maybe. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of flatten it with my hands a little bit. It's going to make the rolling process much easier. Now keep in mind that I need to get something that is a large oval. So you have to make sure that you're stretching it both directions, both side to side and front to back. I'm going to be using the red slab sticks. The slab sticks, if you remember, help you to gauge your thickness, so when you are rolling with your rolling pin, you will get down to the thickness of the slab sticks and your rolling pin will stop. Now, you always want to start from the middle and go outward with the rolling pin. After a few rolls, you're going to pick the clay up and you're going to rotate it. You must release it from the canvas every few rolls because the clay will embed into the canvas and it will get stuck. We'll do that again. Pick it up, rotate it. Again, always from the middle outward. If you go from the outside coming in, you're going to end up by having it roll up on your rolling pin and it kind of wraps around on itself. Now, I have more clay than I actually need, but I would rather have the mistake of having more clay than I need than not enough clay. Because if you don't have enough clay, you can't just add on another chunk. You actually have to re-wedge and re-roll. Okay. And let's try one more pass this direction. Now, you know that you are down to the final thickness when you hear that rolling pin hit the slab sticks on each side. So in this case, let's hear that again. I know that I'm down all the way. I can set my rolling pin and my slab sticks to the side. Now what I'm ready to do is I'm ready to take a red rib. I like to use the red ribs because they have a nice soft edge, and I use the round side for this. I'm going to rib the top side of the clay. This does two things. Obviously it smooths it, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that it's compressing the clay particles. Now once I have that side compressed, I'm going to flip it and I'm going to compress the other side. The compression of the particles will make your slab much stronger. You don't want to have your plate break, and you can really avoid a lot of breaking if you have good compression of the clay. Okay, now both sides have been compressed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper plate and I'm going to set a bag over the top of it. I want to put I'm going to put a plastic barrier between the clay and the platter because the platter is made of paper, and if I don't put that barrier there, it's going to make the paper get all soggy. So I've now draped my slab right into the mold. I'm going to gently encourage this in. Notice how I'm kind of lifting the edge. Notice I'm being very careful to prevent finger dents. I don't want to have big dents where my fingertips are pushing anything in. And you can make it whatever angle you want. If you want it to be a little bit more shallow, you can make it more shallow. If you want it to be a little bit steeper, you can make it steeper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my rib, and I'm just going to gently rib that curve. Next, I'm going to rib a little bit of a flange up on top. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle tool and I'm going to trim away the excess clay by letting the needle tool ride directly up against the edge of the paper plate. Okay, now all this excess scrap, What I'm going to do is I'm going to squirt it down with a water bottle. I'm going to put it back in the bag so it will have a chance to absorb the water, and then the next person will come in and they'll wedge that up. So don't ball it up, leave it loose and squirt it down. Okay, so I'll just kind of trim up anything else that's sticking off, and that looks pretty good. Now what you will need to do is you're going to need to make a little name tag, set it on top of your piece so no one else thinks it's theirs, and then tomorrow when you come in it will be leather hard, and I'll show you how to clean it up from there.